competition can play out if both QBs end up playing well? When do you have to pull the trigger?
We're going to pull the trigger before we game plan for the Washington Redskins. So we got to have a quarterback in place. So, when we're really getting ready and getting into the meat and potatoes of what our game plan is going to be against the Redskins, that quarterback will be named. So,
Chip, when we start, as you stand here, what, if anything, did you learn about your football team tonight in a game? Now that you played your first preseason game?
yeah, I liked our effort. I liked how hard our guys played. But there's obviously fundamentals that we need to continue to work on as a group. I like their attitude. There's a lot of guys in there that aren't very pleased. They didn't take this that, hey, it's just a preseason game. It doesn't matter. It matters every single time you step on the field, whether it's in practice or whether it's in a game. So I like their mindset and I like their effort. And then I think the fundamental part of the game is what we have to continue to work on as coaches. And we'll do that. And we'll get back out of practice on Sunday.
Will you start game planning for the Redskins before the fourth preseason game?
No.
How do you feel about the way the team handled the speed of the offense? A lot of these guys under Andy hadn't done that, and it seemed like it was pretty seamless, no penalties tonight doing it.
Yeah, but we've had an opportunity to be with them since April 1st. So, you got a bunch of football junkies. I think they enjoy it. They like playing the game that way. So I think it'll be a weapon for us. Part of it, like I say, it's a tool in our toolbox. Well, for what we have the ability to play fast with, I think they handled that pretty well for the first time really out in a game-like situation. So.
Can you talk about the call and the execution of the touchdown pass to Deshaun?
What's that?
Can you talk about the call and the execution of the kick to Deshaun touchdown pass?
I don't understand the first part about the call.
Well, you made the call to throw it deep. Did you see a coverage? You want to just give it a shot?
No, we were calling a play. A lot of our pass plays, it depends. I thought Mike did a great read with the coverage. It's based on the coverage, So usually when you're throwing deep, not everybody's going deep. You got check downs, you got people running underneath, and you got to read the coverage. So I thought it was a great play by Mike and Deshaun. Obviously he's a great weapon for us to use at our disposal. And I thought Mike did a great job reading the coverage and throwing it on time. So.
What led to your decision to start Polk over Brown, and how do you think they both did it running back?
Again, I think those guys are a lot like the quarterback, so I wouldn't read much into who played first. I thought Bryce played really well tonight. Chris has played really well in camp and did some nice things. So, we feel like besides LaShawn, we have a couple guys that can play. So we were really just rolling those guys. So.
Talk about Greg Salas and a couple nice highlight plays that he made tonight.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that just keeps showing up. He made a catch like that. If you remember, I think it was 2 days ago against the Patriots on the sideline. So, he's that guy. Whenever he gets his opportunity, he seems to step up, and that's an important thing for us. Because depth at wide receiver is a huge question for us right now. But you got a guy that's got a little experience, and I think that showed today. And that's again, he's kind of got a knack for making plays, and like we talk about every single time you get a chance to get on the field is you're building your resume, and he keeps building his resume, and he keeps making plays like that. He's showing up. I think everybody will take notice of him.
How long will the long snap Duremus be out? How long will he be out? And do you have anybody in place other than Sullivan?
I don't have any information on the injuries at this point in time. I haven't met with Chris, so we usually get that afterwards. So I know he was out for the rest of the game, but I don't know the extent of how many days or how long that will be. So.
What did you make of Barkley's time? He kind of started out rough, but he had a nice series.
Yeah, I think Matt has a great grasp of what we're doing. I think sometimes it's tough. There may be a protection breakdown or, the receiver isn't exactly where he's supposed to be. I think he was high on a couple throws early, but I thought once he settled down, he was pretty decisive. The long third down, the third and long that he ripped in there to Clay Harbor is kind of what I've seen. I saw for a long time when I was on the opposite sideline. So I think it was what mattered. Like a lot of those guys, some of those guys, especially the rookies, it was their first time ever playing an NFL game. So I think for some of them, you kind of catch yourself looking around a little bit. But I think once Matt got settled, I was impressed with how he played.
Chip, along with Vinny Curry that you talked about, it looked like Damian Square and Benny Logan, they were in the backfield a little bit, getting good. But it seems like you got some good young defensive linemen here.
We feel like we do, and Benny made a great play on the screen, and that's what I was talking about from an effort standpoint. Both those guys play extremely hard, but I think it reflects in terms of how they train, and so it's nice to see when you got some young guys like that I think coming up, because obviously the game is won up front, offensive and defensive lines, and I think we've got some young defensive linemen that we're excited about kind of continuing to look and see how they grow.
You talked about guys playing their first NFL game. Any emotions for you tonight? I think you've been around the ranch a lot longer than these guys. Coach a lot of football, but stepping out there as a head coach in the NFL, any emotions?
No, I didn't really think of it that way. I think you kind of just focus on the game itself, and it's 11 on 11. You know, that you kind of, once you get out there, you know, so that part's a little bit different, I think, for me. But, and I also didn't play, so, you know, I think some of those guys were a little more fatigued than I was on the sidelines. So.
Okay.
We good? Thanks, guys.